This kid changed poker forever. This is Mike McDonald, an 18-year-old Canadian phenom they called Timex, because no matter how hard poker's elite hit him, he kept ticking, and at the 2008 EPT, he proved why. While most kids his age were stressing over high school exams, Mike was busy doing something else, buying into one of the biggest poker tournaments in Europe and risking everything for a shot at glory. Armed with instinct, discipline, and a calm beyond his years, I'm here to show you that Mike McDonald didn't just hold his own at the poker table, he dominated it. Welcome to the 2008 European Poker Tour in Dortmund, Germany, where over 400 players risked 8,000 euros each for a chance to be forever remembered on the game's biggest stage and walk away with a prize worth over $1.3 million. But at the final table, only 9 of the original 400 remained, and among them, an unshakable 18-year-old kid who was out to prove to the world what he could do. Before reaching the final table, Mike's remained disciplined with his hand selection, carefully picking spots to get involved in the pot. Big multi-table tournaments are all about survival, so you don't want to risk your whole tournament life unless absolutely necessary. Mike's been carefully building up his chip stack, but now that he's reached the final table, there's no more room to hide in the crowd. Each of the remaining players didn't get there by accident, and if Mike wants to win this, he has to go on the offensive. And in our first hand, he wasted no time opening the action with 9-10 suited, a great hand that can hit a number of different board textures. Diego Perez, not one to shy away from a challenge, raises him with ace-6 offsuit. Not the best 3-bet bluffing hand, but again, when you get to the final table, you have to make do with what you have. But Mike's not backing down that easily. With relatively deep stack sizes, he has the option of flat calling a 3-bet and playing some poker post-flop with a decent hand. That would certainly be the safe option, but you don't win a big tournament by playing it safe. Mike goes for an amazing 4-bet bluff instead. He knows that his opponent has a lot of bluffs in his range, and he decides to put him to the test immediately. He knows a lot of hands can't stand the pressure of a 4-bet. Mike's hand is also blocking some crucial hands in his opponent's continuing range, like pocket 10s or pocket 9s. Perez thinks for a bit, but it's all for show. He knows he can't continue the hand, and he's certainly not about to push this kid any further with some crazy bluff. Mike takes down the pot, adding to his formidable chip lead. He's letting the whole table know he's not to be pushed around. But believe me, he's only just getting started. And in this next hand, the 18-year-old makes a sick soul read, proving once again what he can do. Andreas Goulinet kicks things off, open raising with 6-5 suited, an aggressive move with a speculative hand. Mike McDonald, ever composed, makes the call holding ace-jack. He's got high cards and position, and he's not folding without a fight. 3-betting is definitely an option here, but I actually prefer a flat call in this spot. Ace-jack is too strong of a hand to turn into a bluff and too weak to get action from a lot of weaker hands. But flat calling instead, Mike is allowing Goulinet to continue with a lot of hands he has dominated, like Jack 10, Jack 9, as well as a number of weaker aces. Goulinet makes a standard c-bet on a king-high flop. This board heavily favors the pre-flop aggressor's range, as they should have a lot more king-x hands in their range. It's also a very dry board with not a lot of draws available. Having missed the flop, most players would just let go of their hand, but Mike has other plans. He knows his opponent will have missed the flop quite often too, and they're likely betting close to their whole range here, so he goes on the offensive yet again. Goulinet does have a pair and a backdoor flush draw, so he makes a reluctant call. The turn is a jack of spades. Mike's hand improves to a second pair, but Andreas also picks up some equity with a flush draw. With so many chips in the pot already, Goulinet feels there's only one available move left. With his back to the wall, Goulinet jams the rest of his stack, putting the pressure back on Mike. Mike's eyes narrow. He's been watching his opponent carefully, tracking every movement, every bet, every hesitation, and something just doesn't sit right. The story his opponent's telling? It feels shaky. Something doesn't add up here. Mike's holding a marginal hand, only a second pair, but his instincts are telling him he has the best hand here. Still, calling in this spot takes serious guts. This is no home game. It's a massive European Poker Tour final table. He's just 18 years old, with lights, cameras, and pressure bearing down on him. The pot is huge. One mistake here could derail everything. But Mike trusts his read. He leans forward, counts out the chips, and makes the call. His opponent turns over the cards. Mike has the best hand, for now. But then comes the river.
He will need to hit a 6 of 5 or a spade, or he is the first player out.
Andreas has a pair of 6 and a flush draw.
He's standing up.
So right now Mike is in the lead.
He knows it's almost
Andreas
over.
is the all-in player. He needs to catch a 6 or a 5. or a spade.
He's got 14 outs.
He will be our 8th place finisher. And here comes the river card.
Mike McDonald very happy about his call.
And it is?
The river card is a 5. It's 2 pairs for Andreas Gullinet.
And it's a dagger. The rail erupts with excitement, cheering on the German pro at his home court. Mike's hand is second best, and the pot slides the other way. It's a brutal beat for Mike. He made the right call, but sometimes poker is cruel. Up next, Mike's luck is about to turn around. Christian Harder, a student from Minneapolis, wakes up with ace-king, a premium hand, and raises confidently, looking to build the pot. Unfortunately for him, Mike wakes up with pocket aces. Will his pocket rockets hold up this time? Mike goes for a big 3-bet, raising it up to 105,000 chips. He really doesn't want this hand to go multi-way. He doesn't want to allow some random hand to crack his aces. He wants to play a heads-up pot with Harder, hoping he has something to pay him off with, like pocket kings or queens. The action folds back to Harder, and after some thought, he decides to take a stand and he moves all in. Of course, Mike snaps him off immediately.
Insta call from Mike McDonald.
Did you see how quickly Mike called? That was really a courtesy to his friend. He said, "Sorry, guy," and they just stood up and shook hands.
Christian hand is ace-king.
Bad timing is what it is. Aces against ace-king. Christian Harder with just a 7% chance of staying in this event.
Flop comes. Check, deuce, king.
Well, at least he's hit a king.
Christian.
Now he's got 2 outs.
There are 2 hearts in there. Right now, aces
Running
are still
hearts
in
as
the
well
leads.
for a flush.
Christian needs another king at this point. Let's see the turn card.
Harder flops a pair of kings and a backdoor flush draw, but he's still far behind Mike's aces. And the turn card takes everyone by surprise, a queen of hearts. Now Mike has to dodge any 10, any king, or any heart on the river. The river's a brick, and Mike breathes a heavy sigh of relief. And just like that, Mike McDonald sends the first player packing, pushing Christian Harder out of the tournament and asserting himself at the table. With a decent chip stack, Mike doesn't have to force the action, and he quietly gets out of the way, letting other players battle it out. After a few eliminations, Mike finally gets a reason to get back into the action, looking down at pocket kings. But then, in a stunning move, Johannes Strassmann does the unthinkable. Mike snaps him off immediately, knowing he's way ahead. Mike flips over the cards, and the room falls dead silent. This time, Mike doesn't have to sweat all the way to the river. He flops a set right off the bat, and his opponent is drawing completely dead.
On the flop, Johannes Strassmann exits the tournament in 6th place. 152,000 euros. Mike McDonald now has more than $1 million in chips.
No cheers from the crowd this time as the kid adds another victim to his list, and now we're down to the final 4 players. Up until now, Mike has been playing solid textbook poker, but in this next hand, we see a different side of him, a risk taker, a gambler. Diego Perez is left with a short stack, and he needs to make a move fast if he wants to stay in the game. He moves all in with Jack-10 offsuit. Not an ideal hand to put your whole tournament life on the line, but again, with the blinds constantly increasing, sometimes you just have to roll the dice with what you have. Mike's holding pocket 2s, and he doesn't necessarily have to risk a big chunk of his stack, since he's not in any immediate danger of getting eliminated. Most players would probably fold deuces here, but not Timex. He knows Perez is desperate, and his chips are out there for the taking.
This is the biggest gamble we've seen Mike McDonald make.
This is really surprising, James. I don't understand him doing this.
And in this situation, the 2 overcards are a slight statistical favorite to the pocket pair.
It's because they can make straights as well.
Up comes ace 9-4.
Well, McDonald has dodged the big bullet.
There's still 2 cards to come, though.
Leading with pocket deuces. Here's the turn.
Perez is hoping he can connect here, a jack or a 10.
A heart won't change anything, and now he's in extremely good shape.
It's got to be a jack, it's got to be a 10, or Diego Perez is out of this tournament.
It's a queen.
The pocket deuces hold up.
Diego's our 4th place
Diego
finisher.
Perez finishes in 4th place.
The pocket 2s hold up, and McDonald eliminates another opponent, tightening his grip on the table and coming one step closer to the title. Now we're down to the final 3 players. The 2 German pros have the home court advantage, the crowd cheering on their every move. Mike's feeling the pressure, but he doesn't let it get to him. He's calm, in control. He's laser focused on the game, completely tuning out the hostile crowd. Torsten Haas open raises with ace-5, and Mike flats him with king-queen. Goulinet is getting a good price on a call, so he comes along for the ride. Again, Mike can certainly go for a 3-bet here, but flat calling allows his opponent to continue with a lot of weaker hands. Also, with plenty of chips left behind, he has a lot of ways to outplay his opponent post-flop. Goulinet's getting a good price on a call, so he comes along for the ride. Mike flops top pair, and now it's time to set the trap. He quickly checks, baiting Haas into making a standard continuation bet. He's planning to check call, or even check raise, putting massive pressure on his opponent. And sure enough, Haas takes the bait. He goes for a c-bet, betting almost 2/3 of the pot. Mike's confident he has the best hand at the moment, but his pair is very vulnerable to getting outdrawn, especially against two opponents in the pot. He moves all in, and Goulinet quickly gets out of the way. Surprisingly, Haas makes the call with his second pair.
Call.
And Haas calls very quickly.
Very quickly.
King, queen of spades is the hand.
He really should have thought about what he might be up against there.
I mean, you might have eventually put Mike on a flush draw and put the money in.
But think about it first.
Absolutely. I don't understand how he could make that call so quickly.
Torsten needs to improve here. He needs an ace or a 5, or he will be our 3rd place finisher.
Let's see the turn. Turn cut is a tray. Is no help.
Still an ace or a 5 needed.
Torsten needs a 5 or an ace.
Mike McDonald standing up. Torsten sitting down, even though he's the player at risk.
It's a 4.
Well, he's going to have to stand up now. He's out the tournament. Mike McDonald has eliminated Torsten Haas. He finishes in 3rd place. He wins 307,000 euros. We are now heads up here in Dortmund.
And with yet another elimination, we finally go to the heads-up match. Andreas Goulinet raises with ace-2, trying to apply pressure early on in the heads-up match. Mike makes the call with queen-8, ready to battle it out. Andreas makes the standard c-bet on the flop. He has the range advantage as the pre-flop aggressor, which makes a c-bet in this spot all but mandatory. But you know Mike is not going anywhere with his top pair. Then comes the turn, another queen. Mike knows he has the best hand now, and he quickly checks, hoping his opponent will keep barreling. Andreas checks behind, and now Mike wants to get paid off, so he moves all in. So far, Mike's been playing near perfect poker, but I think this is the first time Mike actually made a mistake in the tournament and got a bit carried away. Could it be the pressure's finally starting to get to him? If he checked instead, he would give his opponent another opportunity to attempt some sort of a bluff. Alternatively, he could have gone for a smaller bet and increased his chances of getting some action. Of course, Goulinet lets go of his hand. Mike takes down another pot and moves one step closer to victory. Next up, Goulinet opens the action with a raise holding ace-jack offsuit, a very strong hand in late-stage tournament play. From the big blind, Mike defends with jack-9 offsuit. Mike's in pretty rough shape here as his hand is completely dominated by Goulinet's superior kicker. The flop comes down, king 3-4 with a diamond flush draw. Neither player connects with the board. Mike checks to the pre-flop raiser, and Goulinet, perhaps wary of Mike's reputation for post-flop aggression, decides to check back instead of continuation betting. The turn's a queen, and both players pick up some equity. Suddenly, both players find themselves with inside straight draws. Seeing an opportunity, Mike takes the initiative. He takes a stab at the pot, hoping that Goulinet may have given up on the hand. It's a textbook semi-bluff. Mike doesn't have a made hand, but he's picked up some equity and is willing to apply pressure against his opponent's capped range. Goulinet isn't going anywhere just yet. With a draw to the best possible hand, he makes the call, and the tension builds. Now it all comes down to the river. If the final card's a 10, it would give Mike a monster hand, but Goulinet would get the stone-cold nuts, and Mike would be in a world of trouble. The stakes couldn't be higher. The dealer burns and turns. An ace of hearts, no help for Mike, and his opponent improves to a top pair with a decent kicker. Mike's semi-bluff goes unpunished, and with that lucky river card, Mike dodges a bullet and hangs onto his chip lead. With the title just within reach, Mike looks down at ace-king, a premium holding in any situation, but an absolute monster in a heads-up match. It's time to go on the offensive. He raises it up, applying pressure just as any seasoned pro would. But Andreas Goulinet, never one to back down, looks down at 10-7 offsuit, far from a premium hand, and decides to defend. He's unpredictable, aggressive, and clearly willing to take risks to claw his way back into this match. We get an action flop, king 7 jack rainbow, and this hand is about to get heated. Mike hits top pair, top kicker. Goulinet catches a third pair. It's the kind of board that can easily spiral into a decisive showdown. Mike makes a standard continuation bet looking to extract value from his top pair. But then Goulinet catches everyone off guard. Goulinet raises, a bold and unexpected move. It's a statement, I'm not going anywhere. It puts the 18-year-old to the test immediately. But Mike? He's Timex, unbreakable, unshakable, and now unstoppable as he chooses to just call. It's a savvy play, one that keeps Goulinet guessing and leaves the trap wide open. The turn brings another king. Now Mike is locked in with trips and the pot is getting massive. This could be the moment. Goulinet, undeterred, fires another barrel, another bet into the growing pot. Mike, sitting on an absolute monster of a hand, is in the perfect position to end this tournament right now. But once again, he plays it cool. He just calls. The river is a complete brick, and Goulinet knows the only way for him to win this hand is to try to push Mike out of the pot. With everything on the line, Goulinet makes a final desperate move. He shoves all in. And now it's time. Mike, with trips, doesn't hesitate for a second. He snaps him off. And just like that, it's over. Goulinet tables his bluff. Mike flips over his ace-king with quiet confidence, and the crowd erupts. At just 18, Mike Timex McDonald became the youngest player ever to win the EPT main event. An impressive feat for sure, but this win is nothing compared to one of the most legendary victories the poker world has ever seen. An amateur player who won the World Series of Poker main event despite never even playing in a live tournament before. His name? Chris Moneymaker. And if you want to see his historic run to a World Championship title, then make sure to watch this video right here. We'll see you there.